Hello, and welcome to Pathways to Healing, the Perfect Step podcast. We are your hosts, Cody Norman
and Logan Fry, paralysis recovery specialist at the Perfect Step, also known as TPS.
We are not doctors and are not prescribing anything, as this podcast is for informational purposes and should not be considered legal advice.
We are, however, sharing knowledge and experience that we have gained from working for years with clients in the paralysis community.
The guests on this podcast will include either experts in their respective fields or individuals sharing their unique experiences with paralysis.
Suggestions and advice that we share may affect each person differently, as not one injury or diagnosis is the exact same.
We are hopeful that the outreach of this podcast will allow us to give help and guidance for individuals suffering from paralysis.
We understand that this spread of knowledge is important and takes an entire community coming together.
Because of this, we would like to take a moment to thank our sponsors who have made this possible.
Hello and welcome back to episode 14 of Pathways to Healing. On this episode, we have Coach Matt Durant, who is a strength and conditioning coach at the University of La Verne, as well as Lance Durant, who was diagnosed with cerebral palsy from birth.
On this episode, Coach talks about how he has trained his son, as well as many different athletes, his impact he has had on mine and Logan's training career, as well as many other topics. Stay tuned on our Pathways to Healing.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pathways to Healing. What's up, Coach Durant? How's it going? What's up, Lance?
What's up?
What's going on, guys? On today.
Lance, Coach, thank you for being on. We appreciate you guys coming in. No problem.
Logan, Cody, nice to see you.
Man, it's fantastic, Coach. How long has it been, man?
It's been a minute. It's too long.
Too long. Yeah, we got to catch up.
We spent so much time together, like when you guys are undergrads, and it's really weird because when you guys, from a coach's standpoint, especially mine, because I spend so much time with you guys, when you guys finish and then you leave, like a part of me leaves with you because I've watched you guys for 4 years come in, grow, improve, turn into these young adults, and I'm like, when you guys leave, like Terry's finally leaving after feels like 10 years.
Basically.
But he was in the weight room the other day, and I'm like, you're done. Like, wow.
Crazy.
Finally.
I think Sean Holtz might have been longer.
Yeah.
Muncie was the longest.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Jerry literally feels like a decade. But it is great to be here. Proud of you guys for everything that you are doing. Cody's having a baby. What you guys are doing here at the Step. And this is really cool to be able to do this with you guys. This is awesome.
Appreciate it. I will say, kind of quick on that, it's crazy that that's your perspective, how, we kind of take a piece of you away. But I think from our perspective, we take so much of you away when we leave La Verne. And I'm sure you can see it, but we're not the same people when we came as when we left. And so much of my still daily routine, my workout regimen, the way I look at my alarm clock in the morning, every single little bit of those pieces are things that you instilled in us. And, just grateful that you gave us so many of those opportunities to learn and grow. So,
well, it's both sides, and I appreciate you guys so much. And this is just awesome to be here. So thank you guys. Coach. And I get to do it with my oldest, which is really cool.
Lance, why don't you give the viewers and listeners a little bit of a background on you, your story, and some of the things that you're doing right now.
I am going to my junior year in high school at Damien. Top kid on our mountain bike team right now. Just came out of my season, and I finished in our area in our division number 1.
Let's go.
So that was a really big step from last year. My cerebral palsy, I never looked at it as a challenge. I never really used it as an excuse. I mean, it's just what I have. It's what I've been raised by my mom and dad. Just always look to ways to not to use an excuse, and I just deal with it and I just have it. So
I'm sure a lot of that comes from your dad and his perspective on life. Life and just the understanding that there you go, scoot up a little bit. Just the perspective that just because something is different doesn't mean that you can't do a lot of the same things. And we got to see that when you were
hanging out on the sleds.
10, 11 years old.
Yeah. Literally rolling around the way.
Literally trying to drag me on a sled. No, that's awesome. When did you start mountain biking?
I've kind of always done it, but I think my dad has always raised me like doing cycling and all that. But I really kind of just started doing it 8th grade year, and I was 8th grade year, but then I really got into it, like really racing and like doing really good with my high school team right now is freshman year.
Heck yeah, awesome. That's really cool. Lance, what other things have you been a part of? What other sports or what other things have you been a part of that you feel like has shaped you and molded you into being this such a great mountain biker now?
Him, what
Yeah.
we do, and I mean, none of other sports have really helped me with that, but it's him. It's me. It's me, my dad in the weight room, and us doing that and just pushing. And nice thing is that the beginning of soft freshman year, we only had him for like kind of the middle to end of mountain bike season, but now the sophomore season we had him from all the way from road biking until the end. And I don't think other kids see it, but I think that's the major part of what has helped me, and I think some other kids on the team is what he has done with us, and so I give much of my success to my dad and my coaches. So I'm very appreciative of all my coaches and my parents and all for helping me out through
Well,
the years.
all that sounds great, but the reality is when someone is passionate about something, they're going to go out and do more than what you're asking, or they're going to do what you ask them, but then they won't stop. And I think that he found his tribe, he found his dudes, he found his team that gave him an avenue for him to have something to be passionate about. And it's, as a parent, it's nice to see that, because every day I just want him to wake up and to go be passionate about something in life, because that's what gets you out of bed. That's what gets you going. That's what gets you through the hard days. That's what gives you kind of that carrot at the end of the stick for things. And it's been a long road. Like I tell people all the time, what you are seeing now, if you'd have met Lance at 2, 3, 4, as his dad, who wants the best for him, he's exceeded everything by what he has done this last year. It just blows my mind. So when you meet Lance, if you go to shake hands with him, like, you're not going to really tell, because it's such a quick handshake. He'll shake his hand with his right side. Well, his right side doesn't work like his left. And when he was very young, I think he was like 3 or 4, you want to go out for T-ball, play T-ball. I said, okay, well, we got to start working on this. So we start playing catch. And because he has both hands and he can't close his right at that time, he couldn't grip a baseball. He'd go to throw it, his arm would go back and the ball would drop because he couldn't hold on to it. So you guys are baseball players. So I'm going, okay, Jim Abbott. But the difference between Jim Abbott and Lance was that he just, from his elbow down, he could still do everything. Like, he was an all-state football player, all-state baseball player in Michigan. So I went back on YouTube and I started watching videos. He would catch, tuck, pull it out, get ready to throw again. Yeah. I said, okay, we're gonna do this. And then I actually I found his email. I emailed him. I sent him an email, introduced myself, talked to him about Lance, and he got back to me. His personal assistant lives in Claremont. This whole thing is crazy, right? So we're going through this, and so he eventually sent me back an email, and I asked him. I said, "How did you work on it?" This is his reply. Well, I lived on a hill, so if I threw the ball against the wall and I didn't get my glove on it fast enough, it rolled down the hill. So that's how I got better at it. And I was like, okay, so we're going to play catch against the wall, and playing catch with him. And so he started getting better and better and better. And I'm like, okay, he's like smooth, start getting it. And then as a parent, you start to think like, oh man, other kids are going to say things like, oh, how's he going to handle this? And so my dad said something one time, and I really stuck with me. He said, I'm raising my kids to take on the world. And so, I've kind of transitioned that to, I'm raising my kids to be savages. Like, we're going to destroy this thing. Like, do not get in front of us. And so we just practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced, like ad nauseum. So now he's playing Little League. And, again, the coach side of me said, we have to outwork everybody. We got to play catch every day. Well, some days you don't want to play catch. Okay, we got to do something else. Hey, Lance, let's go to the gym, work out. I don't want to work out. I'm raising, kind of like we were talking about earlier. When it's your kid, they may not listen all the time. So I had to find ways. And as his mom and I, as he was growing up, we knew, as he got diagnosed with his cerebral palsy, he started going to occupational therapy over at Casa Clina. And I would go and watch what they were doing with him. And I'd be like, okay, I can do this at home. They were having to do things like swing. Okay, well, if I raise the TRX up, he can swing on that. He's using his right hand. And then they started doing water therapy with him. And they would take a cooking sheet and have him balance it to keep the water on it. Well, he's focused on the water, not his hands. He's doing it. So I'm going, okay, I gotta come up with ways to train him so he doesn't realize he's using it. That's what I have to do. And we started doing those things. So if I said to Lance, like, okay, we're going to squat, and we just did a simple squat, his right heel is going to fly up off the ground. Okay, so, going through my world, we'll take a shoe off, we'll get in different stances, blah, blah, blah. Now, I got a good friend of mine, Josh Hankin, who is a genius. He's actually helped me give me ideas to train Lance. Okay, and so as we got going through those things, especially with baseball, one day he said, "Hey, Dad, I want to catch." And I'm like, oh, God. Because I'm thinking they're all going to steal. And then the coach won't let him catch because he won't be able to get the ball to set me. So I was telling the story to someone else the other day. We went over to Wheeler Park. I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah.
And
Softball fields right across the house.
Yep. And I said, okay, here we go. I put a second base out. John, stand on second base. So I got his brother at second base, and you were 11 at the time. And I threw him a ball. He had to come up out of a squat, which was already hard for him to do. Rotate, tuck it, pull it, throw it, all in one motion. The first time he threw it, ended up in left field. So, okay, let's try this again. We were out there for an hour. He was getting frustrated. I was trying not to get too frustrated with him, but I'm a parent and a coach, and I'm like, gotta do it like this, gotta do it like this. So I've learned a lot from him over the years about, like, I gotta be patient. So, and then slowly he got better and better to the point where the coach put him in. Let him catch. Remember catching? Remember that? Yeah. And then he says to me, the next thing he says to me, I want to pitch. And I'm like, oh, God. Right? And I'm like, well, at least he doesn't have to catch it first. So his first game, he got to pitch and he struck it out. It's coming off the left side. Logan, you appreciate that,
Sliver Little League or
No,
Claremont Little League.
Yeah, he struck a kid out. And the thing that I'm most proud of at that time was he had this, bulldog look in his eye when he got on the mound. Like, he wasn't listening to the kids because the kids were like, why are you pitching like that? He didn't say a word, didn't even look at him. He was focused on his job. That same focus he had then is what he has now taken to mountain biking and how he approaches his training and racing. And we may butt heads on a lot of things, but his preparation with his bike and his stuff, it's better than a lot of the college athletes. Like, he is so hardwired to know what's going on with his bike, how he feels. And we can get into more of the minutia of that stuff as we go on here. But I knew at some point, like, all of this is going to pay off down the road. And this is where it's paying off for him now, is the hard work of, maybe it wasn't mountain bike then, which it is now, but it's learning how to work. Having, okay, here's my little thing that's in front of me that's challenging. Okay, we're going to work the problem. We're not going to go around it. We're going to acknowledge it, but we're going to work through it, learn from it, and then move on to the next thing. So anyway.
Attention to detail.
Yeah.
It's something, just preached at La Verne, and not only in your weight room, but especially with Coach Winterburn. Something that I think me and Logan took away from you, and it allowed us to, I think, pretty quickly find success in what we're doing now, is you have this mentality with your athletes, with your kid, that no matter what the ailment is, there's a whole rest of the body, right? One of the big things La Verne, one-arm bandits, or I hurt my leg. Okay, you have another leg and two arms. Let's do stuff with that. And where did that perspective come from, Coach? Because that's not the case with everybody, right? You see people on the sideline, oh, I have a pulled hammy, so I'm sitting out the rest of this. No. If you have a pulled hammy on your right leg, we're going to work out your left leg, we're going to work out your left arm, right arm, abs, everything else.
So for myself, this whole approach, and we are a product of our environments, having my dad, who was a career Marine, a high school football strength coach. Okay, you're raised differently. The lens that you are brought up with is different than everybody else. So I'm going to tell you two quick stories that kind of put this all together. So the first one is between my 7th and my 8th grade year. My 7th grade year in football, didn't play very well. Got my butt kicked. I got down on myself. Just didn't play well. So we're 2 weeks before youth football tryouts. And my dad goes, hey, we're going to high school. Let's go. And I'm like, oh, okay. Turn the TV off, hop up. We go to high school. He goes, put your cleats on. Put my cleats on, takes me upstairs. He goes, put this helmet on, put these shoulder pads on. I'm like, okay. Grabs a tackling pad, comes and he goes, we're going outside. You're gonna get better. And I'm like, just want to watch TV, Dad. Like, come on. And for an hour, for 2 weeks, he made me practice tackling. Like, broke it down. And that showed me that if you work hard enough, you can have success. Okay. That showed me that if somebody cares about you, you can find a way to have success. And a lot of times that person has to know that it's a very thankless job because you are getting somebody so far out of their comfort zone, they don't want to do it. But you also kind of know at the end of the road, they'll figure it out. Right? That's the thing we hear in our baseball program. Figure it out, right? FIO, right, guys? And so that was the first one. My 14-year-old baseball tryouts. I'll go to baseball tryouts. And I've always had vision issues. And so first thing we did is everyone go in the outfield, catch fly balls, right? The dads are all going to assess you and this, that, and the other. So I'm standing there and I'm like, ball's gonna go up. I'm gonna have no idea where it's at. So they hit the ball up, and all my buddies are like, left, right, left, right. Well, they were telling me to go the opposite way of the ball. So the ball hits like 15 feet off to the side, and I just turn and look at them, right? And they're all laughing. So I take it, I pick the ball up, and I throw an absolute rod to home plate. And I was pretty irritated. So the next one, I'm like, all right, guys, don't mess with me on this one. So they hit the ball up. They run me into the soccer goal. And I am livid. I am so mad. Pick the ball up, and I throw another one to home plate, and I'm like cussing my buddies out right in the outfield. The dad out there's laughing. I'm like, you guys think this is funny? Okay, just wait. So then we go in the infield. Hit me my first ground ball, and I take 2 steps back, and I backhand it. And I put all my weight on my back foot, backhand it, and throw it as hard as I could to first base. And it just went quiet. And I was like, oh, you guys think that's funny, huh? Okay, here you go. Eat this. And so my manager, who ended up drafting me, goes, hey, I drafted you because of your arm. And I was like, oh. And so you start to have things like that happen to you. And then I got into coaching, and I had situations where I would work with guys, girls, and watch them achieve these things that they wanted through hard work. You fast forward that to having children, and I want my children, like I was telling you guys, like to attack the world. And that mindset, Coach Wimber and I talked about this one time. More gets taught than caught. So remember that, Cody, when you're a parent, right? You're about to have a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Your kids pick up more of what you do, not what you say.
Mm-hmm.
I got a funny story about that. So we're in the car, we're driving, and this person like changes lanes, doesn't put their blinker on, and I kind of like throw my hands up a little bit, and my youngest son's sitting in the back, and he goes, douchebag, right, Dad? And I go, oh, yeah, son, because he heard me say it so many times. But I think as a parent, if you want your children to be a certain way, then you have to model that behavior. And so it's something as simple as getting up early in the morning, not being afraid to do hard stuff, practice what you preach, because they are learning from what you do. You want your kids to be mentally tough, you better be mentally tough. You want your kids to get up early in the morning, guess what? You better get up first, because that's what they're going to remember. That's what they're going to see. You want your kids to have discipline in life? Well, guess what? You better have discipline in life. You can't expect them to do something that you don't do. So that's where that mentality kind of started. And for myself, now that my kids are older, I think it's even more important that I act like that. I hold these things. Like if I'm going to ask Lance to go out and train hard, well, guess what I better be doing? I better be training hard. Maybe not on the bike like I want to, but I'm in the gym. I'm doing my work. If I'm asking him to be a better human, I got to be a better human. And there's times I've had to apologize to him for things that I got pissed at him one time and I threw his cell phone. And I threw it and I went,
Oh, you mean this right here?
yeah. I threw it and I'm like, well, if it ends in the pool, I don't care. But that's not the right. I shouldn't have done that. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that. So it's kind of owning those things too and being humble enough to know, like, I'm not perfect. I'm going to make mistakes. He's not perfect. He's going to make mistakes. At times he probably doesn't think that, but I'm trying to elevate him. But I have to set that tone. If that makes sense.
Yes, sir. It does.
The Be Perfect Foundation is not just a name, it's a promise. A promise to individuals living with paralysis that they are not alone in their journey. Founded by Hal Hargrave Jr. in 2007, after his own life-altering accident, we are a nonprofit 501c3 organization dedicated to providing direct financial and emotional aid. Inspired by a quote from the movie Friday Night Lights, we believe that being perfect is about doing everything you can, especially for yourself, your family, and your friends. With nearly $10 million raised and a 100% volunteer staff, your support goes directly to those in need. We assist with medical supplies, wheelchairs, home adaptations, and exercise-based therapy programs. Our board of directors receives no salary, ensuring that almost every dollar donated makes a real impact. Visit BePerfectFoundation.org to donate or learn how you can get involved. The Be Perfect Foundation, changing perceptions daily.
Yeah, I think there was a book that we read, and because you brought it up, it reminded me of this book that we read in theory class, baseball theory. It's called Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink.
Yeah.
And it described a lot of things that leaders do, and the leaders of some of these companies were pointing the fingers at the employees of the companies. And so there's a certain person in this book going up to the leaders saying, no, you're the issue. It's you, the leader, you're the issue. So this reminds me a lot of, I remember early morning conditioning, what you're talking about as far as setting the precedent and the example with your kids is we would be there at 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30, whatever, walk in. And
For the viewers, for a 6:30 workout, they're there at 5. Like,
Absolutely.
baseball team is legendary. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we wanted to be, too, not because we had to be.
No.
And if you were there 15 minutes early, you were late. So we set that too. But you would walk in and there'd be Lance and John with you right there.
Yeah.
Right. And they'd be already stretching, doing their thing, getting ready for the workout, be wide awake in the morning. And there's some of our guys sitting there. Man,
That's crazy.
I gotta get going. And so you set that example, growing up for your kids, and look at it now. So that's just an example of what you can do.
I think it's also interesting because it's an example, yet it's also an expectation. And I think and I'm guessing, but from your perspective, the first few times it's like, okay, guys, like this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. I'm going to show you how to do it. And then once they learn that and once they understand that, it's like, you know what you're supposed to do. This is the expectation. If it's less than that, it's not acceptable. And there's going to be times where we fault, but we're striving to get to that expectation every single time, no matter what.
Now that Lance is over, he drives himself to school. So the expectation, don't be late. Like, you know what you need to do. Get your backside up, take yourself to school. And in credit to him, I never have to worry about that with him. I never have to worry. His brother, his alarm will go off. He'll hit it and go right back to sleep. Well, at my house, when that happens, you get a cup of water thrown on you. Remember the morning when I left him?
Yeah, you done it twice now.
Yeah, well.
You yell at him and you leave him, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, well, it's funny to you.
It is funny to me.
Because you are hyper aware of where you need to
Yeah.
be and what time you need to be there. Almost to a point where it drives me insane sometimes, but I appreciate that because we're around, and I know you guys know this, we're around adults that aren't like that. It's okay for them just to, I'll just roll in when I want.
Yeah.
No, it's not okay.
It's not.
It's not.
Bare minimum.
No.
Yeah.
Just
So you talked about a little bit from the background that you've came from, Coach. Can you give us a little bit more of, okay, you're a kid, you're going through this experience of your dad's a football coach in the Marines. At what point did you know I want to be a strength coach and I want to be a coach in the future? I want to get involved in kinesiology and movement science.
Yeah, I wanted to go in the military. I wanted to, a lot of guys say this, I want to be a SEAL. I wanted the opportunity just to try out. Because to say you want something like that is so 1%, you're giving yourself way too much credit. Like, you need to earn that stuff. So my vision didn't allow me to go in the military. My vision did not allow me the honor to serve in our country's military. And I just go, okay, I'm going to go coach. I've been around coaching my whole life. I am strong. I am drawn to other strong males. I don't do well with people that make excuses. I don't do well with people that every time something happens, it's not their fault. They like to blame somebody else. I can't. I'm not good at that. And I don't ever want to be good at that. So I am drawn to people that have a high give and F factor, whether it's give and F in their life, personal life, their family, their work. I'm a coach. Mostly people I hang around with are coaches. So for me, that has been what I am drawn to. And so when I got into coaching, my first year of coaching, I was around some amazing coaches that taught me a ton, and they all cared a lot. And so being around them, it was fun. It drove me to show up to work, show up to practice, and be better at my job. And then once I started to see that, man, if I just care and I get better, like I'm gonna be okay at this. My mentor, Robert Dos Remedios, who's out of College of the Canyons, who taught me the business. He taught me how to be a strength coach. He taught me what it is to expect your athletes to be better. Not hope that they'll be better. Not ask them to be better. Expect them to be better, right? There's a difference in that, throwing that different verbiage out there. Now, with that being said, I've been at La Verne a long time. We talked about it. I've been coaching college athletics for 27 years. And it is, I've gotten better as I've gotten older about relationships wise with the athletes, knowing what buttons to push on people to get them going. And that comes with time. It comes with humility. It comes with stepping back and going, it's not about me, it's about them. What can I do with Logan Fry to get him to throw a little bit harder, to get him to be a little bit better? What can I do with Cody Norman? How can I tweak this? What do I need to say to him? What button do I need to push today to elicit that response? I heard a coach say this one time, and I thought this was funny. I don't have a good relationship with athletes that don't care. I have a great relationship with athletes that care a lot. When someone says to another athlete, well, Coach Durant likes you, I listen and work hard. How hard is that? Maybe you should listen more and work harder. Great teams have an expectation level that everybody be moving in the right direction. I don't care if it's a little league team, to a college baseball team, to a professional sport. Those characteristics of championship teams, they leave clues. It's our job to see the clues and then go, okay, this is what we need to do. Tom Brady finally got inducted to the Patriots Hall of Fame. That just happened. An unbelievable leader. The many things that he has done, one thing that he does that I was like, that's amazing. Even when somebody new comes in through the organization, whatever organization, when he was with the Patriots or the Buccaneers, he walked up first, said, hi, I'm Tom Brady. Nice to meet you. And everyone's like, dude, we all know who you are. But that leadership shows, hey man, you're really important here. That goes a long, long way. So
one of the things that I took away from the book that Logan was talking about was one simple quote: there are no bad teams, only bad leaders. And they take that from Navy SEAL perspective. The boats that they do,
boat cruise.
Cruise, you have, all the different boat crews. And something they do with the boat crews is everybody has a leader. Well, if they take the highest performing team, take the leader away from them.
I tell this story all the time.
The lowest performing team. The lowest performing team now becomes the highest performing team. The highest performing now becomes middle of the pack or lowest. And it just really pushes that narrative that if you have good leaders who set a culture, who set an expectation, the teams are going to be successful. That's just how it is. And I think you, Coach Winterburn, everybody else, the main leaders of those different sporting programs over at La Verne, have set that culture and have set that expectation, and it is continuously developed.
It's a daily sociology experiment. It's a master's class on how to get teams moving in the right direction. I talked to Lance a ton about his team. What do you think your team needs? What can you do, right? We talked about this. What can you do to affect your teammates? And sometimes youngsters, and Lance is 17, well, they don't listen to me, but they will follow you if you go do it.
Yeah,
and
that's for sure one thing I learned this year with Sissy. Sorry, go ahead, Ed.
No, go, buddy.
Especially this thing with this year when I won the first race, I got a leader jersey, and I kept it through the whole season besides one race. And the thing that started happening was is that when I wore the jersey for the rest of the day, they started calling me leader jersey, leader jersey, leader jersey. So it's like some of my name. And what I saw was that the way that what I saw was that the way I performed, and it's like they see how I'm doing, and they see I can do that too. So they just want to do better. So it's one of the things where it's like you perform, and they see what you're doing, they can do it too. So so the things I saw this year definitely.
You're leading by example.
Yeah,
Mhm.
That's
exactly.
awesome. I
So
love it.
my next step, Logan, was, okay, dude, you need to affect everybody now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I talked to him a lot about, hey, why don't you go have these great, now you get to have conversations with guys. Now you get to go up to a freshman or somebody and go, hey, what can I do to help you? Hey, let's have a great practice today. Let's dial it in. And all of that, you know, leadership training, because it really is like an everyday, you guys remember what it was like to be in high school.
Mm-hmm.
You want to gravitate towards people that think alike. Well, if you can get more people that think alike you, your organization starts to get better. And if Lance can help his coaches, because peer pressure is the best pressure you can force. If he works harder, everyone else will up their game, right? He's got the leader's jersey. So if the leader is working the hardest, you have to work hard.
Mm-hmm.
I've always said this, that if the best player in your team is the hardest worker, you're going to have success. And so now for him, as he goes up to the next level, he's got to work harder. It doesn't get easier. The beauty is it gets harder,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I would hope he would take the approach of, okay, good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's make this harder. Let's find out what you got. You know, to his credit, he won his first race. And I was out on the course helping Marshall because we had to do that. And he comes back and I gave him a big hug, super proud. He's like, Dad, I want to go tell him what I go through. No.
Yeah.
We're not doing this. Be proud. I love you. I'm super proud of you. We're not doing that. Win the next one. Win the next one. Place the top 3 and then keep doing what you're doing. That will affect them. You telling them that, they'll stop listening to you. You know, and to his credit too, he doesn't talk about it. Right? On his bike, so on every bike, the right side is the back brake, the left side is the front brake. Well, if his dominant hand is his left side, he uses the front brake, he's going to shoot himself off the front of the bike.
All right.
So we switched the brakes.
I ride at moto, so the back brake's left. The back brake is the left side, and the right brake is the front side.
Yeah.
Got it.
You know, something else too, most cyclists that race, they have special shoes for their bikes.
Mm-hmm. Like clip in.
Clip in, right. He was worried about that. I was worried about it too. His mom was worried about it. Big shout out to my brother, who is a genius with this stuff. He went out and researched pedals that are magnets. So Lance uses a magnet that keeps his shoe there. So as we get going into this, there's certain things that we're starting to figure out with him. Like, okay, how can we maintain his competitiveness without, you know, losing too much, right? And so then I go, okay, one side's going to be weaker than the other because he's going to be so left side dominant. I'm curious to see how he's going to be this year later. So we started doing body work on him. We have one of my old football players, Dr. Jeff Williams in Glendora, is a chiropractor. So Lance would go see him every couple of weeks, and we started to see he was really tense on. Well, he's just overworked on that one side.
Mm-hmm.
So then the conversation between he and I was going, okay, man, how do you feel after this race? Dad, my left side is so tight, super, super tight. He's using one side to do majority of the work. And even though his race is 2 laps, right?
Yeah, it's about
12 miles.
It's about 12 miles.
Well, he's going left side dominant for 12 miles, right? And you guys both work with people who maybe can't use their legs, but they overuse their arms, and they need extra work on that, right, guys? Like,
Absolutely.
and so we started doing body work on him. He got one massage therapy.
One massage, but it was mostly the chiropractic just to make sure my body was all
Yeah,
set
his
for the
hips weren't
weekend.
off, shoulders, all that fun stuff. And so that was great. Big shout out to Dr. Jeff Williams for helping us out, taking care of Lance all year. And I started tweaking his weight training in season. So in season, I work with the kids on Mondays. Shout out to big ups to Lance again. He's the only kid on the team that never missed a workout all year. Did not miss one weight workout.
So
Now,
that's-
weight training doesn't mean you're going to win any more bike races, but he's putting the work in. He's not letting what he has affect his hard work.
Mhm.
He knows, I would think, I got to work harder than everybody else.
Yep.
Right. So, and he also was on a specific kind of weight training program, but the kids all looked over and went, I want to do what he's doing.
Mhm.
Well, then you got to work like he works.
Good luck.
I had kids literally come up with, how come I do that?
Yeah.
Because you haven't done what he's done.
Yeah, it was me and Isaac who were only pretty much. I mean, we said a couple of kids, but it was usually always me and Isaac who allowed it. And like, come over kids, we'd be like, we walked over, and like, no, you can't do this. You got to go over there because we're different. I mean, we're so much more into it. We're so much more competitive, and we care more. And just the way we look at it is a lot more different than other kids look at it.
If they had trained, if they were gonna just hop in on Lance's weight workout for that week, they'd be gassed by Wednesday. Lance has prepared himself since September for what he's doing in February, March, April, May. So, but that started way back in September, and it was his mindset. It's not my mindset. I want everyone to understand something. I had nothing to do with this. It's him. It's all him. As a parent, your job is to just kind of open them up and show them things, and they're gonna find their niche and they're gonna sprint at it. And your job is to be there to support, pick them up when they need to get picked up, be there when they have questions. We've had some great conversations
Yeah.
during this time about what he needs to do next. You know, I will stretch him out every now and again. Like he's finally like, hey, what about this stretch? It's a great stretch. Try this one. Oh, that feels amazing. Okay, now do it when I'm not around.
Yeah.
You know, he's the point now. He's a dude, right, guys? Where he's like, I want to do some arms, get bigger. So that's yeah. He wants to Logan Fry arm farm. So, you know, having those conversations, and he's getting older. Like we can have different conversations as a father and son now. And my job is to be his biggest cheerleader. Take pictures, take video. He gets embarrassed, you know, if I try to tag him in too much stuff. But I'm so proud of him and everything that he's gone through. I think what people need to understand was when he was young, he couldn't even put his shoes on. It was really hard. He had to go Velcro. And I kept thinking to myself, there's got to be something for him. There has to be. So I remember,
Nike shoes, yeah.
yeah, but I asked one of your therapists at the time. I can't remember her name. She was super, super nice.
The one that worked at Claremont. Little League.
Yes. What was her name? She's amazing.
Yeah, I don't remember her name.
Yeah, super, super nice. And I said, there's got to be something. We're 20, whatever. There's got to be something. She goes, hold on. She went back, came back, gave me a name. It's called the Nike Flyees.
Yep.
And the Flyees, I don't know if you guys know about that. You guys should with who you work with.
Yeah, no, we
Do
did.
you guys know that was created for a kid with cerebral palsy because he couldn't put his shoes on?
I didn't.
His first pair of Flyees were LeBron James's.
No way.
So again, I am very blessed, guys. I'm very blessed about the people that I have in my life, that I'm lucky to have in my life. My mentor knew somebody at Nike, reached out. I said, hey, Dose, can you talk to anybody at Nike for me and see if they can, blah, blah, blah. 2 weeks later, I had a pair of shoes with a note from the guy who made the shoes, who created the shoes. He sent a pair of shoes
Parachute, and then
and then a pair of cleats, right?
no, that was later.
Oh, that was later.
That was
But
later.
he sent you 2 pairs of shoes.
Yeah.
And so, dude, filled my heart, you know. And for those of you that are out, if you want to watch a video, they're probably going to make you cry. And I almost broke down in front of my whole class. For you guys, you're like, no way, coach. Like I was on that verge of like losing it. Nike, go to Nike and type in Flyease, FLYEASE. Is incredible story. And those are the things that as he was growing up, I'm like, okay, we can do this. Like, and I never wanted him to be looked at as different.
Yeah.
I never wanted him to be treated different. He gets to the point where he doesn't, he doesn't want to be treated different. And if you meet him, you're not going to know, because credit to his mother and myself, he would fall when he was younger. He would be running on grass, trip, fall, and we go, safe.
Yep.
And he would just get back up and keep going,
Yeah.
And so instead of putting him in a bubble, I was like, I got to prepare this kid for the real world, man. And to credit to his mom too, she it's one of the few things we agree on.
Oh yeah.
How to, you know.
For sure. With you,
Yeah.
mom. With you, my mom was how to prepare me for life. Now I'm gonna
Yeah.
deal with this.
Yeah, it's
thing I have.
gonna be there forever.
Are you in the retail, restaurant, hospitality, or petroleum industry? Looking for a trusted partner with your multi-site remodel, refresh, or tech integration needs? Look no further. Apex Imaging Services is your complete solution provider. With over 7 decades of experience, we're experts in everything from general contracting to cutting-edge tech solutions. Visit apeximagingservices.com to learn how we can transform your business, increase efficiency, and elevate your brand. Apex Imaging Services. Your vision, our expertise.
We talked about preparation a little bit, Lance, and you mentioned preparation a little bit.
Yeah.
Can you give me the most important part of your preparation before a race?
It's the so we have these things that are called what is compact sleeve sticks we have?
Mm-hmm. They're like
those-
Normatex.
Normatex, yeah. So I use those. I use those the night before I start. I did that at our championship race.
That's a whole different.
That was a whole different talk show. But I usually like to stretch because with me, with my cerebral palsy, my left side will start to get tight and it'll start to become uncomfortable when I'm racing or even when I'm riding for a long time. So I like to stretch refreshers before we roll them up and all that. And then just go through everything, make sure everything's good, and then we hop on the bike and we can get ready, warmed up and get ready to go.
Awesome.
So that's about it for me. There's not very much.
I love it. It's all up here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. That's what it sounds like you guys are both talking about. It's
Yeah.
up here. It's between the ears. Right?
Yeah.
And it's awesome. It's awesome that you've been having so much success in what you're doing.
Yeah.
You keep doing it, man. You're doing
Thank
a
you.
great job.
Thank you.
I'm seeing the post with you. I saw the post with John about the arm care. And
Yeah.
that was just gold stuff in that caption that you put about the ability of pitchers. You can't play if you can't be healthy.
No, your greatest ability is your availability.
Yeah.
You guys both know that. I mean,
It's awesome.
Worked for it.
yeah.
Oh man, we were just talking about it. It's spending countless amounts of hours doing arm care and
arm
getting
care
prepared. And
and
thank
athletic
goodness
training room
we
and-
had the resources to do those things. So we had you that allowed us to use the weight wherever we wanted to.
Yeah.
We had Joe allowing us to get into the AT for
You
until
know,
they're
my
closed.
favorite days were always coming out and doing the bend ball
Day
stuff
one.
with you guys, the day one
Day
stuff,
ones.
Yeah.
because we could go. And you guys were so into it. It for me it was fun coming out with you guys. Like
So much
I
fun.
I looked forward to coming to the baseball field to work with you guys.
Yeah.
That's the best part. And for me with Lance on race day, you know, I just want to be there for him.
Yeah.
I just want to be there and highlight him. I think when it comes down to, there's only a few of us that really know what he kind of goes through. In all honesty, okay, it's not like every day is rainbows and puppy
No,
dogs and
no,
ice cream.
yeah, no.
And, you know, I still see him struggle with things around the house, and I'll,
Not as much as I
no,
used
not
to.
definitely not as much. I mean, the first time I saw him tie his own shoe, I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think you were like 12 though.
Yeah, it
You know.
took me so long to learn how to tie my
But
shoes.
buttoning up his pants. Yeah, I remember when he was kindergarten, first grade, he couldn't button his pants. So if he went to the bathroom, I thought, oh my God, he's gonna have to ask his teacher.
Awkward.
Right? Super awkward. I mean, really awkward if you did in high school.
Yeah, but, I mean,
But it was little things like that,
Sorry.
like just simply button up his pants, tying his shirt, and then he started hitting all these benchmarks and doing things, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna be good. We're gonna be good. And then this is when the coach comes out. Ooh, what else can we do?
totally.
Right? What else can we do? So, you know, I have no idea what he has the rest of his life. I have no idea. I know what he wants to do, but in terms of what he wants to take with him everywhere, like it's endless.
Yeah.
You know, so if someone ever told him like, "Oh, you can't do that," I'm like, "Oh, wrong thing to say to him."
Yeah.
Like he's gonna show you up. So
Like, don't say the C word. That's a battle word around here, right?
Yeah.
No C words around here. No can'ts.
no.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, he knows that.
Yeah,
He
I love it.
absolutely knows that. He did his
Yeah.
first century this last spring too. What'd you do? 100 and
107, and then before my last race, so we had a Monday off. I chose not to. He was one of my best friends, and he actually helped me win my last race, which secured me the spot to be champion of our league and our area. And then our head coach Dominic Marisic, we went from his house in Upland all the way down to
Seal
the
Beach.
Seal Beach, and we're all the way back, and that was 112 miles.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
yeah,
That's awesome. That's
fantastic.
incredible.
yeah.
yeah.
So you've seen him go through all these different milestones, and I don't even have to ask. You trained him the whole entire way, right? How did you get so creative with your training methodology? You do barbell, kettlebell, dumbbell, every single thing that you can think of.
Yeah.
You never stopped, versus I feel like in that field, there's a lot of people who are like, oh, I'm a strength coach. We're going to deadlift, we're going to clean, we're going to bench, and
Right.
that's about it. What was it, having him and having all these different lifestyle things go on, that made you be creative, or was there something else?
Learning, lifelong learning, and realizing, like, the first time I saw a kettlebell, I'm like, it's a ball with a handle on it. What's so big about that thing? But the first time I did Turkish get up, I'm like, okay. I always think, okay, and this is my mindset, not what can we do, what can't we do? Like, ooh, you guys have been outside and we've done the most obscene circuits, right? And you're like, and I know what you think, how does he come up with this stuff? And usually it's 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. But I've taken a lot of the stuff, and I said, okay, maybe he can't hang clean, but he can clean on one side with the kettlebell. Cool, let's do it, let's go. So we work the problem. I don't ever say we can't. It's, what are we gonna do? And teaching him how to deadlift. I waited a long time to teach him how to deadlift. I taught him a lot of variations leading up to it. Doing sandbag stuff with him. He's gotten so much better using the TRX. If we do a circuit like around the house, excuse me, I always factor in, like, it's always got to have single arm stuff because I want him to be able to do it. But now he's trying it with his other hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are a lot more.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Awesome.
I love that. My favorite workouts are with the kids. It's me and the boys, and it ends up being hip thrusts, and that's what she says, and dancing, and I'm just like, oh my god.
It's
But
fun though. Like, we've been over there
awesome.
during COVID.
Like, let us use your
Yeah, you
house.
let us use your
Yeah,
house.
Are you kidding me? That was fantastic. And you live in La Verne, it's just even better. But we were able to go on the side of your yard, in the backyard, and you wouldn't even be home. Like, yeah, just go to the gate, go ahead, take the equipment, make sure you put it back and clean it. We're like, heck yeah, no
Absolutely.
problem. And it was, man.
And I don't think you understand, Coach, how much that perspective brushed off on us and how it's allowed us to have success in this. Because we're dealing with some people maybe very able-bodied, and you can do all these different exercises and workouts, and then you'll have somebody who can only move their neck, and their thought process is, oh, I can't do anything. And it's like, oh, watch, because we're
just
going to
wait.
put your body in this position, and we're going to lift your head this way, and we're going to tilt your head this way, and you're going to do this, and we're going to adapt and find a way to overcome whatever challenge you're faced with, and find a way to work out. Because if exercise is good for me, it's good for Logan, it's good for Lance, it's going to be good and beneficial for everybody. So we're
Exercise is medicine, right, Cody?
Amen.
And again, I want him. So when I first got Lance on a bike, it was, this is something he can do forever. You can ride a bike forever. That was the goal. Just teach him something he can do forever. Look where it's taken him. We'll be able to ride together forever now. We'll be able to go out and ride and mountain bike together.
Yeah.
That is something that he and I can do. We can share that, father and son. And that was the goal. Along with that, all of a sudden he found a passion. Awesome. He knows more about bikes than I do. I'm not lying. He got a job working at a bike shop. Remember that?
Yeah.
For a couple
months, yeah.
He would go to work after, he'd ride his bike, and he would ride his bike to school, ride his bike to the bike shop, work, ask questions, do his deal, and then, I'd pick him up sometimes after work, and I'd be like, hey, buddy, what's wrong with my bike? Dad, it's chain, do this. And he'd go over, done. Like, this is awesome. We're a personal mechanic. But I see him tinkering on his bike all the time. When he was younger, when for those that don't know, when you have cerebral palsy, your right and your left side of your brain just aren't working the same, right? It's like information isn't getting to where it needs to get to.
Right.
So I could dump a box of Legos out, and he would have it done in 5 minutes. I'm still fumbling, trying to read the directions. And he's like, I got this. And I'm like, how? His brain just works different. And I think people need to understand, he learns different. He doesn't learn like everybody else. Again, to his credit, I'll be sitting there at night and he'll be doing his Spanish flashcards, just reading the words. I'm like, hey, buddy, need me help? No, I got it. It's amazing how he's learned to overcome this to have success. And with him learning different, it just takes time. He needs more time in one area, not as much time in another. And credit to every teacher he's had.
Yeah.
And you saw one the other night in your bike ride.
Yeah, Miss Klinko.
Yep. And his attitude has always been, okay, what do I need to do to have success? A lot of young people will look at that barrier and go, I just can't do it, and throw their hands up. And that's not him. He's gonna end up at La Verne, get his degree, get his master's degree. And what do you want to do after that, kiddo?
I'm hoping to go work for my mom at our family business, and then hopefully work my way up. Starting from I'm already working this summer, and I'm washing trucks, so I'm knowing how to do everything, and I'm learning the basics and that so that people know like, I'm serious, and then hopefully I earn that respect from them. And I want to work in our service department, which is where the right side doesn't have to really work its butt off, is because it's working on big equipment. So the you're gonna need both hands. So which is where I kind of need to make sure I can do it. I'm gonna do it anyway. It may take me a little longer to figure some stuff out, but I'm gonna get it done. And then I wanna become our vice president of operations, which is what my uncle does now, and he runs our parts. He's on our executive team, and he overlooks parts and service for the whole company through all of our branches. And I want to do that because for me, I want our company to stay in the family. That's a big part of it. So that's what I'm going to do.
Gang, he's 17. That's what 30-year-olds say.
The mindset is different.
Awesome.
I've had kind of about that dream of like, I've always saying that I want to work in the business since probably 5 or 6 years old. So I've always had that in my back of my mind.
Now, Cody, you asked me a question about where does my mind go with things. He gets horse therapy because he has a horse. There's a place down in San Juan Capistrano. It's called the Shea Riding Center, and they use horse therapy down there. He has grown up around horses. His first word, by the way, was horse, not mom, not dad. He would point to everybody and go horse, 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 horse. And so he can ride. Like he gets on a pony. He can.
It's not a pony. It's a horse.
It's a horse. This is what I deal with. And he can take it on a trail. He can do everything with it in both hands. And I'll see him on the horse. And I remember one time after his mom and I split, I got to come watch him ride. And he took his right hand and whipped that horse around. I was like, oh my God. I was so happy. That's what horse therapy does. And he gets it all the time. So again, we are very blessed.
I wouldn't call it horse therapy. I just call it taking care of our horses and having to do what we do for our horses. And I don't call it horse therapy. It's just you go take care of your pets and their family members. So, yeah.
You call it that. I'm going to call it horse therapy.
Okay, whatever.
But that's another thing. Like some people have to go pay for it. He gets that, and that's a credit to his grandmother and his mom for doing that with him. And he's also learning a great skill, like he talked about, taking care of a pet, cleaning up, brushing, doing all the things.
Yeah.
And he just got his new dog.
Yeah.
And he can't wait to turn that dog into a trail dog so he can go ride his horse with his dog.
And my bike too.
What'd you get?
We think it's a Stalling cattle dog, but we also think it's a Kelper, which is another type of dogs, but we'll see.
There you go.
Yeah. So it's kind of, again, it's not one thing. There's a whole lot going on here. And I think we've exhausted every avenue we can for this. And every avenue that we've gone down has led to something else that we use. So it's working the problem and just pushing everything out of the way. No, we're doing this. We're going to do this. And that's really what it's been like, for 17 years with you. So,
and you can tell that in the verbiage you use. You didn't say, "Oh, I hope when I get to that part, I'm going to be able to use my right hand." Oh, I'm going to do it. I'm going to figure it out.
It may take me to figure out that problem in the truck more than everybody else, but I'm going to get it done, and I'm going to get it done that time frame we have, but it may just take me days, hours, more time to do it, but it will be done.
The thing that you said that stood out to me too is you said, I'm going to earn the respect. And I think that's something that from day one, Coach, that you were talking about a lot, even as freshmen when you come in, right? The freshmen, like sometimes, not all of them, sometimes think that they deserve the respect. No, it's not that way. And we learned that as freshmen as well, very fast. And I think over time, you're earning the respect from your teammates, from the coaches, from people around you, and showing that your hard work and your dedication is what gets you
It
that.
goes so much farther.
Yeah.
You know, when you earn something versus being given something.
Yeah.
You know, when the kids were young and they used to come in the morning, and just they're around the athletes, took such good care of them, made them feel like they were part of something. You know, last year they got to Lance and John both painted their bodies for the.
No,
you know,
no, I was like 2 years ago.
sorry, 2 years ago.
Definitely wasn't 3 years ago.
Yeah,
No.
and they were painting themselves, and you know they're a part of it, and so it's a it's a family thing with us, like big time, and I don't really know another way to do it, to be blunt.
Mhm.
It's hard for me to miss things. I got to ride with his team his freshman year and really be around the guys. And then the next year, things popped up in the spring, and I make sure here with baseball, softball, and I missed. But it's really important for me to not just preach and do these things, but to be present when they're going through these things, because the conversations that we get to have, hey, great on good days, but it's the days that are hard. Those are the days where those conversations mean the most. And I won't fully understand all of that as a dad until he gets older and maybe some of that gets relayed back to me. But like with my dad, he kept putting me in these different positions, almost pushing me, going, okay, dude, figure this out. Go have success. I know you can do it. Go. And that's kind of the way that I look at Lance, is like, all right, here we go. And again, this year it's going to be more.
It's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
I mean, it's for sure gonna be tough. It's gonna be a challenge. I'm excited more. I'm excited more than I did last year, because now it's like, I know this year I was placing top 3 every single race. Now this year I made place 5th, but I know I'm going to work on it, and that's what I'm most excited about, to get to the next level after JV to get to varsity. So, which will be exciting.
And just hearing you say it, it's gonna be tough, and I'm so excited. Makes me just think of a 6:30 workout and just embrace the suck.
Yeah.
And just preach to us. And you just got so much exposure from being with your dad, but not everybody gets that exposure. And
Yeah.
for me, it wasn't really instilled until going to La Verne and being around you and being with all the guys, that it was like, oh, this adversity thing, if you look for it and you seek it out, it's going to be so good for you, and you're going to learn so much, and you're going to get so much more out of it versus, oh, that thing is going to be hard. Nah, let me try to figure out a different way.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
Remember that, Cody, when your baby's 2:00 in the morning crying.
I'm going to hear you just scream in my ear. Just embrace it, and so much credit to you, Coach. You turned us into those types of people, and I couldn't be more grateful. I'm kind of curious, and I don't think me or him have ever asked you this, but can you share with us something that you remember from me and Logan being at La Verne? Maybe something as a student in the weight room training, and maybe something from like the athletic perspective?
Okay, so Cody, we're playing Pomona Pitzer. You had a hard first inning. You come in the dugout, and Winterburn lights you up. Go out for your second inning, and he pulled you. And I remember I was at the game, I was in the dugout, and you came out and you walked up and down 2 or 3 times, and you came up next to me on the railing, and I put my arm around you. I'm like, you good? And you're like, I didn't have it, but I got to get it back next week. And I was like, good for you, because I think you as a freshman, you just would have shriveled.
Oh, for sure.
And I remember that next week, and I don't know if you remember this, but we were in the weight room doing something. I walked up, I go, new week, new person. And you're like, I got it. And you went out that next week and shoved. And that told me a lot about you. Okay. Your junior year, we were doing a circuit outside, and you used to have this look when you got really tired, Logan. You would take a big breath and your eyes would go down. And I started to notice that. And so I can't remember who I told. I want to say it was Ishwar or one of those knuckleheads. And I said, hey, when Logan's eyes go down, immediately get them up. Do not let him look down at the ground. And you should put your hands like this and look down. And I remember saying that to him, and he started to tell you that. And you took that. I remember the next year you started telling everybody, don't look down. Don't look down when you get tired. Get your eyes up. And you say it with so much ferocity. And I was like, he learned that. He got it. So there's other things. With Logan, with you too, I remember how much improvement we had before your senior year in your velocity. And he went from 83 to 89, everybody. And your newfound sense of confidence. You went out one day in a inner squad and you pitched really well. And I remember walking in Coach Winberg's office and say, hey, I heard Logan did well. He shoved. He went out there and his attitude was, good luck hitting this. And I remember one of the next couple of days when we came to the weight room, I was like, hey man, good job in the outing, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, hey coach, thanks for everything. Really? And I go, no, you did it. Keep doing it. And you're like, I got this. And it was just the way you said it. I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. So those are the little things that I remember.
Thanks, coach.
Those are the things that watching you guys grow that stay with me that I can use with others, right? It's easy to find out, oh, he was tired his freshman year. Oh, okay, so what? Every freshman's tired their freshman year. But it's the transition, that mental place that you're able to transition that into finding a way to have success, overcoming adversity. I remember to think, God, how does Cody throw so hard? He's so tiny. And you used to love, you're like, coach, I got strong legs. And you love squatting.
Loved it.
You loved it.
Still my favorite exercise to do.
Yeah. I should have let Logan back squat more.
He's low to the ground. It's easier. He's lower to the ground. It's easier.
No. Yeah, I mean,
It's awesome.
that was the only.
Just like you said, sorry not to cut you off, but just like you said earlier, I mean, you said that people care, good things happen. And we had so many people around us that cared about us and about our life at La Verne as an athlete, but not even just as an athlete, but as our life as an adult and as a person. I mean, from day one, Coach Warnerberg and yourself, I was preaching, when you guys leave here, you're going to be a better citizen. You're going to be a better man. And we're here to make men, not to necessarily, you go on to the pros, do your thing. Awesome. Great. But when you leave here, you're going to be a man. You're going to be somebody that is helping society thrive. And because of that, to this day, we still use, like Cody said, so many things, Coach, that you've taught us at La Verne that we implement into our everyday clients, like to this day. And we have clients that, like Cody said, have barely any head neck movement to people that have a lot more function and ability. And it doesn't matter because every one of those people, we find ways to adapt their program. And there's so many of these people that are so strong and willing that nothing gets in their way.
Yeah, for you guys, how do you come to work someday and you think you're having a bad day and then someone comes in and can't move anything and you're like, hey man, I better stop. I got it pretty good.
So
right?
quickly. So quickly. And we'll, you go and you ask somebody, oh, how's your day going? Nothing to complain about. And it's like, oh, I just thought I had something to complain about.
You can't even scratch your back.
Yeah, no, it's so often, and I think that's something that, I don't know if we looked at this job as being something that we were going to do for the rest of our lives or an extended period of time at first, but as we got embraced in the environment and in the culture, it was like, there's so much that I can get out of this, and I think that was something that you probably experienced with the players, right?
Yeah.
When you get that feeling of like, oh, I did this for them, but it wasn't for me. I did it for them the whole time, but I get this cool thing out of it. It's just amazing. And I just wanted to touch on one quick thing you said. Yes, at La Verne, you guys absolutely just made us better contributing members to society. But you guys just made leaders. And that, as simple as that, you guys taught so many core values of what you were talking about with lifelong learning, the attention to detail, the seeking out adversity. Those attributes are just so good from a leadership perspective that I really think that that's exactly what La Verne does, is it makes leaders out of every single person. And you see that with the program, like the whole entire fall is not run by coaches. It's run by the seniors. It doesn't matter how many there are. There could be 4 in a class. There could be 12 in a class. All of those seniors are now leaders of that collective. And I think it could be intentionally because he's so smart, but almost unintentionally, he did that and taught everybody how to be a leader of a collective group.
It's intentional.
Yeah,
Don't kid yourself. Yeah.
Are you or a loved one living with paralysis and searching for a path to recovery and hope? Look no further than The Perfect Step. Our unique exercise-based recovery programs have helped clients with conditions like spinal cord injury, stroke, Parkinson's, and more. With our approach, many clients experience improved function, reduced medication, and even freedom from wheelchairs. But we're not just a program, we're a community of support. You'll meet peers who understand your journey, along with specialists dedicated to your recovery. Visit us today at theperfectstep.com. The Perfect Step, where recovery begins.
There's a good book out there. It's called The Infinite Game. And one of the major premises of the book is you need to cultivate something that enhances somebody's life. Okay. So if I just get you to throw a baseball harder, that's great. Doesn't help you in 10 years though. Because eventually, even if you go to the pros, Logan, your baseball career will end someday.
Right.
Now what? So there's two types of coaching. There's transactional and transformational. Transactional coaching is I coach you based on a transaction. You're a really good player, I'll coach you. Okay. You're really good, I'm going to like you. Transformational is transforming somebody's life and putting it, better. I've kind of taken that quote unquote holistic approach to get transactional parenting, transformational parenting. Transactional parenting is when you do something good, I love you. When you don't do something good, I don't love you. Transformational is no matter what happens, that end goal is being a better person. And so I'm trying to do things to enhance my boys' lives, teach them how to get up early in the morning. Lance is an unbelievable cook. The boy can cook. Do not get him on a grill. It's over. He is a
Chef
great,
Lance.
dude. He can cook.
So nobody else is gonna get this, but how does that even work? What do you guys follow the same diet? Because I know.
No. No offense, Dad. I'm not vegan. I eat meat.
I had to ask. I didn't know if you're cooking him some vegan stuff. You don't cook him
I
vegan
mean,
stuff?
when he asked me to, when I'm cooking on the grill, I
Veggie
will.
burger, come on.
But
I'd let him cook.
yeah.
If his brother has baseball practice late, he gets home from practice, I'll leave the chicken out. I'll leave whatever else out. He cooks dinner. So teaching my boys how to cook, that's a skill.
Mhm.
So that he doesn't have to go to Chipotle when he gets older and he's in college.
Mhm.
No, he can cook for somebody. He can cook for his kids.
Mhm.
We had some good conversations this year about nutrition.
Yeah, that was one bit that I want to get into for next year's season.
Yeah. And I don't preach. I let him come to me now because then I know it's important. But get back to that transformational. It's important that when we're working, like you guys are transforming people's lives. You two do not work on transaction. Because if you did, I don't know how much you'd get out of it. But the transformational part is these people coming into you that are quadriplegics, paraplegics, brain injuries. You're helping them live a better life. That's a servant mentality. And so when I really started to hone in on that from my own perspective of coaching, being a dad, that's when everything changed for me. That's when I became a better coach. Being a better dad essentially has made me a better coach. It's taught me patience. Having Lance has taught me patience because now an athlete will come in and maybe they're not getting something and I'll think, okay, is there something I'm not seeing? I should probably have a conversation with them. Where maybe when I started coaching earlier, I just might write them off or it would never end up well. It has taught me to have better conversations with the athletes. It has taught me to be patient and understand that there's 17, 18 years of life leading up before I get them. I need to do a better job of getting to know my athletes, being a better provider of what I'm trying to do and not just slamming them with it. And that's come from making a lot of mistakes with him. So your kids will end up being the best and the worst versions of you. He has my tenacity. He's also got my stubbornness.
Yeah.
And we butt heads quite a bit.
Oh,
But
often, very
it's not the terrible twos, it's terrible teens. And we have our moments, but at the end of the day, I respect the fact that he's willing to fight for things. I respect that. He may not always be right, but I respect that. And that's okay. And I don't take it personal. I never think he's out to do this just to spite me. He's a teenager. They're doing it all the time. And he goes to an all-boys school. So there's testosterone running through those hallways.
Don't take it personal, take it serious.
That's right.
Exactly.
How many times you heard that?
All the time.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness. I've heard it probably 1,000 times.
Some of my dreams.
I still remember it to this day. Coach, if you don't mind, would you mind walking us through a day of the life of a strength coach? You wake up.
Are we in like semester, middle of everything?
Season of baseball, spring.
Okay,
Spring
spring
season.
semester. So first thing I do, I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I run my dogs. Like people, animals need exercise.
Mm.
It's good for their everything. So I have a boxer and I have a pit pointer herder mix. I get on my bike. We'll go right around the neighborhood. 20, 30 minutes. They're getting older now, so I can't run them as much. Um, come back from that. I'll either go in the garage, get a little primer in. So it could be a 10 to 15 minute little mini workout or something. At that point, John is getting himself up, getting himself ready to go in the morning. He had an Alexa in his room. I bought him an old school alarm clock that has the big giant block numbers and said, that got me up in the morning when I was your age. This is going to
Is that what he has that?
That
Yeah.
got me up freshman year for your workouts. Nothing else was
I
lined up.
thought
to
you
the
just
case.
found it somewhere.
No, I went out and it cost $12 on Amazon because that's what your grandfather
Woke you up.
gave me and
Uh-huh.
told me when this thing goes off, you get up. And I learned to set an alarm clock. I learned how to get myself up in the morning. That's a skill. So little things like that with the kids. So I get up and I go through and I have a couple podcasts. Now, if I don't have my kids, I ride my bike to school and I listen to a book on tape. As I'm doing that, I listen to music. I listen to something that stimulates my brain, stimulates my thought process. So during the spring, football lifts from 5:30 to 6:30. So I get there about 6, change, return some emails, whatever I got to do. And then I have a team at 6:30, 7:30, depending on the day, who it is. And then if I have John, because Lance takes himself to school, I take him to school. I come back. I have to teach class at 8:30, 8:30 or 9 o'clock, depending on the day. Teach that for an hour and a half, whatever it is. Then it's time for me to get my workout in. So I get my workout in. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I have baseball at noon. So for our listeners, your listeners, if baseball lifts at noon, they start trickling in about 11:05, 11:10. Then by about 11:45, the whole team's in the weight room. So if I'm not, I get anxiety. I'm like, am I done? Like, is it right? Oh no, it's 11:35. The whole team's in here. That's just what they do. Stretching, rolling out, cutting up, whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
So then I drink a little shake and then boom, off and on with baseball for an hour. And then we have a team after that, again, depending on the time of the year with the season. And then I may have to run off campus, go run softball. Mondays, I go to Damien to work with Lance's mountain biking team at 3 o'clock. Sometimes I got to go to the baseball field, do some pitcher conditioning. Sometimes I come back, I have a team or someone needs to talk to me about something. So by about 3, 4 o'clock, I'm kind of done for the day. But I've been up since 4. The funny thing is, I've been that way my whole life. I've just been a high speed, low drag, ton of energy. So when I go home, if I don't have the kids, depending on what day it is, I'll take my dogs for a walk around the block, let them get some more exercise before I feed them. If I have the kids, it's baseball practice, football practice. Who do I have? What are we doing? What's the night? Because Lance drives, he's kind of on his own. And then I'm, probably about 7 o'clock. Lance will tell you this, like I'm half awake.
You're in bed by 9:30. You're asleep by 9:30.
Yeah. I'll be in bed by 8 o'clock. That's if we don't have a nighttime baseball or soccer practice for John.
Mhm.
I do start to get cranky when coaches say, hey, we're going to end at 8 and they talk to 8:15. I'm like, really? You couldn't get this done? And that, like, you already had them for 2 hours. How do you? So that's kind of my day. And
How
it's just,
long has that routine kind of been similar? It's never the same, I'm sure.
No.
How long has that routine been similar to what it is right now?
honestly, guys, when I got out of my marriage,
Yeah,
is when that started.
And you and my mom went divorced. Yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
that's when it started. Being a single dad has been the single greatest pleasure of my life. And I think it's because I get to spend so much time with them. And I don't have to share them. When I get them, it's my time with them. That's really important to me. And so that relationship that I've built with these two guys is really important. One of my favorite things, and he will think this isn't a big deal, is that when he won his last race, he won it by half a wheel.
Oh yeah, it was a
photo finish. It was
a photo
half
finish.
a wheel.
Yeah.
He was behind him by 1 point. 1 point. He just had to finish in front of him. So he started out on the first lap. I'm going to tell a story. Started on the first lap. And where I positioned myself. We were down at Lake
We were down Vale.
Vale Lake,
Yeah.
where I positioned myself. I could take really good pictures, really good video. John was on the camera, but I could see him coming, and I could be like, okay, 1001, 1002, all the way to whatever. He was about 4 to 5 seconds ahead of this kid who had been racing all year. And they they knew who each other were. They follow each other on social media. I mean, that's the difference today is that these kids follow each other. And so he does the first lap, and I'm watching him, and I'm like, oh, he's good. Like, he doesn't look tired. And so I turned to his brother and I said, Lance is on right now. Like, this kid is either playing possum or Lance has him. And because a couple races prior, he took off and he was gone.
2 races.
Yeah, he took off.
The Castaic race, that was a mess, and that was a mess in itself. He took off like the first lap, but like because it was like afterward he just took off, and then the second race that he won, we were with him, and then I was behind him. He just dropped me, but the last race, the finals. So we went through our first lap, and then and I caught him, so I was in front of him. And then I was kept in front of him. Like, I knew how to keep my pace to make sure he didn't get in front of me. So that's my big thing. And then and at the end, we had one kid was in front of me. I was like, I can beat this because this kid was probably placing 4th, 5th every single race. So I knew I could beat this kid. And so it came down to a sprint. Like, it was like all out.
So about a half a mile from the finish, and the way that the course wound itself, I was able to take some video and then turn and run straight to the finish line. And I ended up next to the other kid's parents. And I was right at the start finish. And I'm videotaping, and he's going, and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm saying this on the video. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And he finishes. There's a picture of me standing with my arms over my head, and he's got his arm raised. And I'm behind him in the picture, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And his parents go, oh man. And I turned and looked like, oh. And I just went and walked anything. The cool part about it was when I got over to him, his mom got there, his grandparents, my parents were there, his other grandma was there, all the kids were high-fiving. He came over and gave me a huge hug. That meant the world to me. There's 17-year-olds don't want to hug their dads. I get it. I was 17 once, but he still hugs me. And that means a lot to me, and in my family, my dad, we still hug each other. Every time I see him, he gives me a big hug, tries to pick me up. I'm like, Dad, you got Parkinson's, stop. Like, come on, Dad. So that meant a lot. And how he handled himself, being gracious. And then he got humbled a couple weeks later, but he got sick the weekend of state.
Yeah.
He got like in bed sick, and he doesn't get sick.
Don't get sick.
And he was in bed. He missed practice. And I know that was hard for you.
That was hard. That was a tough race because my legs were not there either. That's a big part.
But goes to show you, like,
and the kid kicked my ass. The kid kicked my ass.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He's pretty good. So, but it was a good lesson.
Yeah.
And we'll take that and move forward in the next year.
But the one thing I can definitely say with how my team is set up than my last team, because with this team I have right now, we're more of a family. We're more of like a baseball family. How you guys were, it's like we camp. So we don't stay in hotels. We camp. We camp at the races. So we camp. We eat together. We eat breakfast together. And the one thing that I think helped me out a lot is my best friend. 2 of my best friends, both of them were in the pack with me. And I was like, on the first time, I'm like, I could have gone, but he was like, do not go. He's like, because I would have gone. I probably drained out. I probably would have gotten, but he was like, stay. I listened to him, and thankfully he was there with me. And then he got fourth. He got fourth his third race back because he broke his. He'd probably get pissed if I told this, but okay. He broke his thumb sprinting when he was supposed to be running. He sprinted his mountain bike. He broke his thumb, so he missed the first race, the second race, and the third race. But I appreciate. To me, it was a lot for him to come back and help me. It meant a lot to me. So I give it to my Isaac, and August was my teammate. August could have probably gone podium couple races, but he was right there. So I gave a lot of my credit to all my teammates for helping me and giving me through everything and all that.
It's awesome.
It's huge.
As a parent, watching him on the podium, seeing those pictures, and going back to the kid who was tripping over the grass, and it's awesome. It's just, I'm so proud of that. And if I die tomorrow, I know that for the rest of his life, he'll know if there's a problem, I got to work the problem, and I'll find a way to have success. I'm happy. Makes me happy.
Great dad, great coach.
Phenomenal
Great
dad,
mentor.
phenomenal
Great mentor.
coach. That too.
For sure.
Does that mean you're going to start listening to me?
I do
No
that.
shot.
I mean,
No shot.
Zero, right, guys?
Yeah.
Zero chance.
Gosh, I got one more question about
Yeah.
your training strategy.
Yeah.
Individualistic training.
Yeah.
The baseball's program different than softball,
Yes.
different than football, different. Coach Dose, is that something you started? Where did that idea come from? Because that's something else that we incorporate. We understand that every single client is different.
Yeah.
They have a different body. They're going to need different focuses. Every single day our clients come in, it's, their day is going to be different on Monday than it is on Wednesday than it is on Friday. So we follow that same individualistic style, but it's something we got from you trying to understand,
So-
where that came from.
Coach Dose taught me a lot about understanding implements and how to use them, and why using a kettlebell is better than a dumbbell for some things, why using a barbell for this may not work here, and why a TRX is better for this and working here. Coach Winterburn has allowed me to experiment with things and try things, and he's always said to me, hey, if it works, okay, great, let's do it. And he hasn't micromanaged. He's also done things. He sent me to Texas to see go to the baseball range to see Coach Wolfworth, and I got to go with Coach Moran at CAC, and that was awesome to see. And so you start doing those things, and you start to go, okay, well, I can tweak this here and tweak this here. It's been a constant tweaking as I've gone along. Having those implements allowed me to take a guy like Chris Paris, who would get the same low back injury at the same time every year, but I was able to train around that and help keep him healthy. Benson, same thing with his knee. I was able to train around. But those things, you start to go, okay, well, we need to be doing this here and this here and this here. The baseball program at La Verne is different. The mindset is different. And so when I have a group like that, I'm going to give that attention to where it should go. You guys hopefully will appreciate this. So this year we're getting ready to go to regionals and then going to supers. And again, your athlete's best ability is their availability. So what I told the kids is this: here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna lift 2 times this week. We have 6 things to pick from, right? Position players lift 3 times a week, 2 big trisets. So that's 6. Pick whatever 2 you want today. Do what makes you feel good. I need you mentally. I need you feeling good. Okay, pitchers, you're going to lift twice this week based on your bullpens. It's been challenging because if a kid bullpens at 3:00 and I got to be there to lift him at 5, with all the stuff I have going on, it never works. So if they bullpen Monday, they have the option. Do you want to lift before you bullpen? Some guys do. Some guys don't. They come in and lift the next day. Some guys want to come in and just do a couple things for their bullpen. Okay, great. That's fine. Do it. So I give them a lot of freedom, right? There's an old term, and I heard this a long time ago. Excuse me. It's freedom through discipline. Vince Lombardi said this. And so until you prove to me that I can't trust you, I'm going to trust you. So taking like example of Jerry Terry. Jerry wants to do this before he pens. Okay. Come back the next day, do whatever you missed, and then take your day off, and then we'll do this here. Hey, coach, just want to do this week. Okay, great. Problem. Nope. Do it, Jerry. I trust you. So that's what I did with the guys towards the end of the season. So we had, honest to God, Cody, we had like 5 different things going on in the weight room before regionals, and then before supers. And I'd let the guys do, and it was really interesting to me. They all wanted to lift heavy. They all said it made them feel better. Bunch of guys were Olympic lifting. Logan, everybody did dumbbell bench though. Everybody got their dumbbell bench in.
Yes.
But it showed me sometimes as a coach, and you do these things and you start to watch, wow, they like that. That makes them feel good. That means what I've been doing is helping. But I gave them a ton of freedom. And I think that team specifically, if we're talking about baseball, they respond to that. But that's the culture of the group. And so I need them feeling good going into regionals. Now, we've been playing around with some different stuff this year, which I think you guys would love. It's little Tai Chi
I saw that.
Yeah, and the guys loved it. The guys loved it, and I started with them. And here's always my thought process: if I can get baseball to do it, I get anybody to do it. You guys will love this too. So I'm driving up. I had an appointment, so I'm driving, listening to the game on the radio, and I'm getting close to the field. And there's the guy calling it. What is his name? He did a great job for us this year. Our play-by-play guy, he did a really good job. Yeah. I never got a chance to meet him. Did a really good job. Anyway, and then the guy that was helping him was a football player. And so he was talking about how hard the baseball players work, and nice enough to mention my name and what we do in the weight room. Coach Durant gets them going, blah, blah, blah. And by the way, it's not me. It's the guys. It's those guys. The team, your guys, the teams you guys played on. Those are guys doing the work, not me. I just feel like I'm up there orchestrating things sometimes. And he said, the baseball team's the hardest working team in the weight room. And the kid helping him goes, yeah, baseball is the hardest working team. And when another athlete from another team openly admits that tells you something. I've always lovingly said this, especially when recruits come in, like, since I've been at La Verne, baseball's been the hardest working team I work with. Well, since I've been at La Verne, Coach Winterburn's been the baseball coach. There was a year where both the boys had birthdays. Lance's birthday's in February, John's is in November. They each had the same request: can the baseball guys be there? That tells you something. I think one year for John's birthday, over off Fairplex, they had the those padded bow and arrows.
Oh yeah,
I was there.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude, it was all baseball guys.
in the hangar.
Yeah.
Right next to the airport.
Yeah, it was mostly baseball guys in there.
it
We
was
had
so much fun.
it went for an hour. It was so much fun. So that is, I think I kind of went around your question a little bit, but to be able to do those things, to have those tools and implements, allows me the ability to hone in on guys. And like we kind of talked about earlier, when a guy knows, or a female, when an athlete knows, if I go in and Coach Durant's going to make sure I get what I need, there's never a problem. They know. Oh, Coach, hey, I'm single leg today. All right. Hey, Coach, I can't use my right arm. Okay, so instead of cleaning, grab that kettlebell. We're going to do kettlebell cleans, blah, 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 blah. They know. All the athletes know. So it's just the expectation. It bugs me when people go, I can't. No, you don't want to. You don't want to. And I have athletes that will come in and go, I'm single leg. I got to I'm like, do you want to do it? No. Okay. And I'm at the point now where I'm not going to try to convince you. If you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. Okay.
If you wanted to, you would.
I'm going to go work with the kids that want to. When I go to train Lance's team, there are certain kids, then there are high school kids. They don't want to be in there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Those are the kids I want off the. Personally, those are the kids I want off the team.
Be nice. We're working on this too. Be nice. I will focus on. I'll make sure he's getting trained, not because he's my son, because he's earned it. And I can also have a different conversation with him. I can look him in the eye if something's not going right, and know, like, okay, it's gonna get fixed. There's kids on his team where if I look at them too long, they start to shrivel. Really, they do. So when we're in the weight room, we're with Lance's team, there's 3 different groups going on, but I always got my eye on what he's doing down there. And I can be like, hey, Lance, make sure this is getting done down there. Got it, Dad. Which is nice. So again, I give him all the credit because he's doing the work, not me. I'm not the one on the bike. I'm not the one training. I'm not the one. He's doing it, not me. I get to be a proud, happy dad that's taking pictures and video, and I'm letting my man do his thing.
And he's doing it.
Yep.
Gonna keep doing it.
Lance, really appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. You're an inspiration to all of us. So we appreciate you. You're awesome. Coach, thanks
you
for
guys.
being on.
Love you guys,
guys.
man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you
Thanks
guys.
for everything you've done
Appreciate
for
it.
us
Come
and
on.
for all your teaching, your
Stop.
mentorship.
Stop.
No, seriously. It's different. From day one, stepped in the weight room, to graduating 5 years later. I was there for a little bit long. 5 years later, graduating, and then implementing all of these things that you've taught us into what we do with our clients nowadays, and with my own training that I do now too. It's a blessing to be coached by you and to be taught by you and to just be in your presence.
Well,
So,
you guys have a strength coach for life, whether or not you want it.
Oh, we do.
That's why you're still coach.
I'm always going to be there
Always
for you.
coach.
So
Yeah.
appreciate you guys. Love you.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
guys.
thank you for having us on.
Yeah, thank you guys for letting me and my dad come on.
Absolutely.
You're awesome, man.
Thanks for yelling at me.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Lance.
Yeah, thank you, Dad.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of Pathways to Healing, the Perfect Step podcast. We hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as we did.
If you found today's episode to be valuable, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, and feel free to leave a review by clicking the link in the description below.
If you have any suggestions, feedback, or topics you'd like for us to cover in upcoming episodes, you can go to our website under the tab Pathways to Healing and fill out the form.
We'll be back in a couple of weeks with another engaging conversation giving insight into the paralysis community.
Until then, keep inspiring, stay resilient, and roll on.
These are your hosts, Cody Norman
And Logan Fry.
signing off.